And welcome back. It's time for Opinion Court. Thank you for staying with us. I'll reintroduce my guests to you in our discussion. To my immediate right, Suna East MP Junet Mohammed, who's the Director of Elections in ODM. Across from me is Senator Beatrice Elachi. She's the Majority Whip in the Senate, of course, from the Jubilee Coalition. And in the middle is Edward Kisiangani, our resident political analyst. We're talking about political parties on voter registration, of course, an exercise that kicked off Monday. I'll begin with you, Senator. How would you describe voter registration so far? Some are saying it's apathy. There's some apathy being witnessed. Is it too soon to tell, do you think?
First, I would say it's too soon to tell, and also to say that I think if we leave the whole process to Kenyans, and I believe if Kenyans want to take their vote, within this age of where we know Kenyans understand what they want, we don't need as politicians to whip them and say you must go and take the vote. Because if a Kenyan really wants to take that vote and change his life, he'll do that. And take, for example, if it was a table banking today and there's only one BVR, everyone will go for the table banking. And I want to tell Kenyans, table banking is like the same. Your vote is your life, and therefore for me, you don't need anyone to tell you that go and take the vote to make me in. Go and take a vote to transform your life, to make sure you get a good leader who will transform your life and bring services to you.
But the reality is that you do need to mobilize voters to ensure your continued stay in power.
Well, now that's the politicians. Now we need to mobilize to continue staying in power. So the politicians, instead of us now hyping and balkanizing and calling IEBC all names, it is our duty, if it is me, to go to my region and make sure I am giving voter sensitization, getting out people to take the vote. The same with all our leaders. And I just want to tell our leaders that if you know it is Ukambani, then the former vice president, go to Ukambani, mobilize. If it's in Western, Weta, go in Western, tell our lawyers why they need to take the vote. But let's not do it in Nairobi and take the whole country into a panic mood where they will think there's something very wrong that is not happening. That will be very wrong.
And let me put what you're saying in context, is because we've already heard the court coalition basically saying that, look, this is looking to be a flop and we already want the 1 month extended. Let me put that challenge, I beg your pardon, to you, Junet. Isn't it your responsibility to mobilize the voters? What does IEBC have to do with it, really?
First, and it's very important for people to register. It's a constitutional responsibility and a civic duty for people who have reached the age of 18, who have gotten ID cards, to register as voters. Because it is people who don't register and vote that elect bad governments. If you register and vote, you will have your government, the one you wanted. Number two, it is the responsibility of everyone to sensitize people, especially IEBC. Must do enough civic education, because that is their responsibility, to educate people on voting matters, on voting registration, and how to vote, the processes. So we expect IEBC to be on the ground and to sensitize people and do civic education. That's number two. Jubilee should not get jittery over the engagement of court with IEBC, because it is only constitutionally, that's the only body that handles these matters. So it is important for court to engage IEBC anytime they have issues to be clarified. So we are going there on the basis of clarification. We are not intimidating anyone. We are not intimidating IEBC. We are not doing anything wrong. We are engaging as a stakeholder. Court is a stakeholder in this issue of elections and voter registration. So I've seen the last 2 days a bit, Jubilee getting jittery. Why is court going to IEBC offices? IEBC offices are not part of Jubilee offices. That's an independent institution, it's an independent commission in the country, Chapter 15 commissions. So we are going to mobilize people, that for a fact, and we will try to make sure that we register as many people as we can, having in mind what we underwent in 2013, because we had a serious problem in 2013 in terms of voter registration. It was a 1 month period like this towards the elections, and the voting, the BVR kits were very few in our areas. Now is when we want to put our acts together and make sure we register as many people as we can.
All right. IEBC has said, because part of the concerns that you've had, as you've rightly mentioned, is the BVR kits and the spread of it, and IEBC has said, look, we're going to move it around. We're going to take time to assess which areas need more kits, etc. Are you satisfied with the way in which that is done? Voters, those who want to register as voters, complain that this is happening without proper notification. Are you aware of any sort of timetable or schedule that says today these kits will be here and for 2 days, and then after that they will move to another region as political parties?
You see, the first why we went to IEBC, one of the issues that took us to IEBC is the procedure and the methodology they used in dishing out those BVR kits, because we thought they will use, IEBC had given out a data showing the number of people who have IDs in every constituency, which in every county, and the people they're targeting to register in this 1 month. So we thought they are going to use those numbers to allocate the BVRs, that the counties which have got more people to be registered will get more BVRs. But contrary to that, they allocated those BVRs according to constituencies and according to wards and such kind of things. And later when we went, they said they will see how they can move around those BVRs. So we will help them where we can. We will go back to our constituencies and tell our people that, and maybe engage the constituency IEBC officer who's based at the constituency, and get a timetable with him and see how we can move around the BVRs.
All right.
I think the good thing political parties should do is that this is a consultation agenda. It's an agenda where we know as political parties, if we want a free and fair election and that is transparent and accountable, we must work with IEBC. And for sure, we must also assist IEBC to tell Kenyans where the BVR will be if it moves from polling station A, it's moving to because that's the work for the political parties, and that's how you look for your voters. So,
but do you have a schedule? Do you have something to
the
go
only
by?
thing now we need to consult with them is to understand the schedule, so that you are able to know that within this week the BVRs are in polling station A. Okay. And next week they'll be moving to polling station B, and we can do that. And we will also ask the churches to help, because on Sundays when people come, you can announce it also in church. What I want IEBC to do is also use the channels. You don't have, yes, the resources, but use the channels that are there. Use the churches, use any channel that has at least a meeting, a baraza, and they will announce where the BVRs will go next. I hope they can do that.
Prof, what do you think of the turnout so far? And if you would also talk about the battleground areas. There were areas where there wasn't a lot of voter registration in the last election, vote-rich areas and battleground, quote-unquote, regions. What do you think they are?
Well, Ali, thank you, Anne. I'll begin by talking about the voter turnout. The voter turnout in many parts of the country is low, so we can't pretend about that. But part of the reason why there is a low voter turnout is because the whole contest has been reduced to political parties, and political parties alone cannot do this job. Mheshimiwa Junet Mohammed has just signified that IEBC should do its job. True, it should do its job, but when you look at what happened in Parliament, the money for IEBC, which IEBC can use for this exercise, should have been allocated by Parliament. So the first thing is to blame Parliament, because it didn't give it money. Now, it needed to facilitate this. Then there must be enough money even for the civil society. If possible, government can lobby for this money even from donors to make sure that people are informed about voting. That has not happened, so you can't blame the people to that extent. But the second part is about whether or not the people themselves are willing. The apathy, the interpretation that you get, Anne, is that this apathy, the contest has been reduced between if you go to register, you are going to register to remove Jubilee. If you go to register, you are also going to register to help CORD. Now, this is actually losing the agenda of voting. It is not about removing one party and replacing with another. And because of that, Anne, you might ask, across the country there is voter apathy, but it is apathy which reflects the venom people have about these two political wings, Jubilee and CORD. That the contest is reduced there, so we must belong to one. So the reasons which we are giving people by asking them go and register are wrong reasons. We are not saying choose good leaders who can bring water, build schools, bring electricity. We are saying you go and register so that you can remove a certain political party, a certain community from power. This is where the problem is. And some people, especially our own people, are intelligent enough to see that that kind of agenda is not the reason why they should go and register. So in that case, again, it has reduced the enthusiasm for registration. So that we hope that they go there to contest, but they must change the theme. They must change the objective of asking people to go on the vote. It's not about removing Jubilee or installing code, but it's about our country. So the message is not right. Then the last thing that you asked is about the
battleground.
The battleground areas.
We've seen the president, camping at the coast and saying,
well, there is the coast, there is even western. Okay, if you look at we are complaining about the BVR kits. In former Western Province, the turnout is equally low. Even with the BVR kits that are around, the people are not registering. So it was a battleground area, but then why are people not registering? Are they fed up with the local administration? Because the local leadership, because it is telling us remove so and so in order for us to take over, or what? These are questions that we need to ask. The cost is the same, and you can see that the apathy is going on. The battleground areas continue, but we must get a different agenda to get that. So for Jubilee, I think there has been arguments that the elections were stolen in 2013. How do you steal elections votes which were not even there? You can only steal what is there. Because if you look at Western Province, for example, we have Bungoma having 411 against a possible registration of 1 million plus. So I think what we need to do is everybody must go there and tell our people, change the theme and tell them that we can have that. Well, if the registration goes to the level that we really expect, then Western will be a battleground area because everybody will go there. The number of voters can increase to over 3 million, even 4 million. The cost will also be a battleground area because that's where everybody wants to get votes. If they have registered at the top, you will see so many of the presidential candidates going there.
Right.
And Nairobi will be a battleground area because even the deputy president has said this is a place we have to control. And he's also talking about his own political wing.
That's interesting. Senator, what's your assessment? What are the battleground areas for Jubilee and what's your strategy?
Well, for the strategy, I don't think it will be fair to say the strategy here, and that's why my brothers in the court, when they come and fight on IEBC, I always say, if you want a good strategy, you don't fight the referee. Just go and do your strategy and you'll come out well. But the battlegrounds, yes, are Western and Nairobi. And for Nairobi, I would say it's the capital city. It has 68% of your GDP is in this town. And therefore, any president cannot let go Nairobi again. They've realized it is where you must ensure, if you're a president of this country, your governor must be in your party. Reasons are, there are many things you must work together. It's not because it's the capital city. It's because it's the center of everything. And therefore, you need someone you can always work together closely with to ensure you also deliver the 68% to the other regions, because this is where all our monies come in and then it's split outside. So for me, for Jubilee, yes, this will be a do or die, but it's also interest, and therefore you have to look for a good partner and work together with.
So are you going the BMW route, Bishop Margaret Wanjiru? No, are you going
first of all, let us sensitize Kenyans. Let us first take the vote. After that, the strategy of how you take up Nairobi is a different game. So anyone who is thinking to become governor in Nairobi, the best thing you can be doing now, sensitize the people, let them come out, let them take the vote.
All right. What are your battleground areas, Juliet?
First, Western and Coast have never been battlegrounds. Those are called strongholds. If you got 70% of the votes in last election in Western Kenya and in Coast Province, they can never be battlegrounds. Those are code areas and they belong to code. Maybe battlegrounds now we can take it to maybe Thika, Muranga or somewhere.
Oh, the traditional Jubilee song. That's what's up for grabs.
It's very unfortunate for my leaders to understand that they are in the pockets of coal.
No, those are Luyas are purely code people.
No,
you can take that to the bank.
That is where your role will come in.
This kind of talk is not good.
Yeah, it's not. You can't tell us in the pocket of Raila.
No, it's my time. No, but it's the same. You know, if you're not in the pocket of Raila, you're in the pocket of Jubilee. So it's the same thing.
Let me put it this way. You don't feel that the president in his stores, you know, there was the tour of Western, and, you know, there's all the promises in terms of sugar, etc., you know, reviving these factories, and then now the coast and
I think when the president...
ETC, that's not worked.
No. When the president goes to Western, visits the sugar company, he's just doing his constitutional obligation and duties. He just, you know, wants to change
but
the
he's not taking a vote from your pocket.
Not even 2%.
Even after quarter.
Now, what I wanted to tell you about the IEBC, we are not fighting IEBC. We are trying to rectify.
But you are not helping it.
We are trying to rectify IEBC based on the problems we encountered in 2013.
Can we just wind up on that one, sir? Because I want to finish your train of thought on the battleground. You talked about Kericho being a new battleground. Let's talk about, you know, Rift Valley, what's happening with Nyangores Ward. It finally went to Isaac Ruto's PPP Party of Kenya, you know, saying
maybe Anna, I need to explain that.
Do you feel that's going to be a battleground?
Those are serious battlegrounds.
When you are a governor who has been in power twice in a constituency, and now you are a governor, and you are first the MP of the area of Chepalungu, now you are a governor, and you spend all that money Isaac Ruto did with Land Rovers of the county roving in a ward of 30 polling stations. You must know you are the weakest person.
These are not warning shots to URP.
Serious ones.
It is not. No. You cannot give women rubbers, and for their vote, and then use motorbikes to go and pick them where you've hidden them, take them to a polling station, and take them back, and say that now you are so powerful. You are just
You know what? My sister can argue like that. You know, she's emotional because she has a connection.
No, I'm not emotional. I can't be emotional.
You know what you have said.
That's the fact that she sees it.
But that's how you are looking at it. But you know, there's something you need to look at deeply. The problem that you are seeing in Kericho is a warning, actually, to Jubilee. The warning is coming like this, Anne. Nobody, including my sister, is not even mentioning the fact that the teachers in Bomet, in Kericho, have anger against, are holding a lot of anger against the Jubilee administration. And this is likely to replicate itself in Coast, even in Western. The way the Jubilee administration handled the teachers' strike, you can pretend it is a serious political problem. You cannot keep people out of salaries for 2 months and 3 months.
But teachers are across the country.
Yes, but the warning signs, I'm saying, the warning signs are likely to be replicated in Kiambu. They can be replicated at the coast. They can also be replicated elsewhere. So the warning is not just about the Kericho being a battleground area, but it is something, a political problem that Jubilee has to deal with.
While I want to agree and disagree, and he's an academician, let us not take, and I want to tell teachers, there were issues, yes, but you cannot also take our children, the sufferings they have gone through, and say it is only them that are now the victims. And what about the children and the parents? And yet we continue with our teachers.
But it is a political problem.
Who are on salary, yes.
They are not living like that.
Yes, and that is why I would hate for us to take our academic institutions to try and use it in a political way.
Okay, fair enough.
I will not agree on that.
Fair point. Jeanette, you want to talk about Rift Valley still? Do you still want to talk about the Rift Valley?
No, I'm saying I don't want to engage in Rift Valley politics.
It is not a battleground for
It is a serious...
it's not a battleground.
No, it's not. It might not be a battleground for CORD, but it's a battleground for different parties. KANU is a party in this country. Mashinani party is a party.
An affiliate of Jubilee.
Mashinani is an affiliate of Jubilee.
Yes,
since
it has no choice.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's now a new story coming up.
Yeah.
Now, let me tell you something. You see,
it was bought. It is not an original new party. It was just bought.
But I thought Jubilee is merged into one party. Since Since when did they again change the strategy? They are becoming one monolith.
Monolith.
And
those are your words, Jeanette. We have not, and you know very well we have not. So you can't say on air that
it is for a fact that Jubilee zones now are battlegrounds, especially for CORD. I'm giving you the strategy. And
now you should know Kidney will be our battleground with CORD.
On IEBC, we are not fighting IEBC. IEBC did a shoddy job in 2013. We want to improve and make them better. They normally say, if you don't get what you want, you love what you have. What you have at that time is what you have.
So how are you going to improve it if...
So, I think Jubilee should not get worried when CORD engages IEBC. They should not be worried.
And we are not worried. We know it's a scare. That's why you want to whip your supporters to show them how scared you are. You are going to lose, and therefore you whip them earlier so that when you lose, you'll say, "You see, we told you IEBC is going to do this."
I just want to paint some picture. You know, we had at a rally over the weekend, the top leadership of CORD announcing that they were going to pay IEBC a visit. They didn't. I don't think you called first. It seems like you just showed up with a throng of supporters, and this is what I think you've been trying to clear up, Jeanette. It's been seen as some sort of intimidation of IEBC, which you're saying it's not. It is your right as a political party to engage. Fair point. Prof, does IEBC have the spine to deal with the kind of political pressure like the pictures that we're seeing on our screen and ensure that the next election is credible?
You see, the IEBC is a constitutional body. It has the spine. I think it seems to have reflected on a number of things, and certain things seem to be working. I am a critic of IEBC, but I think certain things have happened, which you see if you talk to the executive, the chief executive. I think they are putting certain things right. And you know now, they have even given out the PVR kits and nobody's registering. When our brothers go to the IEBC and start complaining, and that is shedding crocodile tears. The way IEBC operates is about funding. Funding comes from Parliament. So they cannot go there and say, extend, for example, the time for registration when they have not facilitated that. So they are just trying to say, we are playing...
But it is political pressure to show up with a throng of supporters. Do you feel the Commission can handle it?
Yes, I think they have the capacity to handle. If they were able to navigate through 2013, even with the mistakes, I think they have the spine to handle the pressure from CORD.
Your final thoughts?
You know, IEBC officers are public officers. They are not private officers. And every member of the public of this country has access to that office. So we went there as first the biggest coalition in the country, which is CORD, consisting of the major parties that exist in this country, and we went there to engage them and tell them what we want and what we feel. And for example, we have a case whereby there is somebody who lives in Umoja who is registering for the first time now as a registered voter, and he is already in the register, and he is claimed to have voted in 2013. He has written, now the country has become a country of affidavit. He has written an affidavit, and we are submitting it to IEBC and going to...
How are we?
Okay. I'm telling you, you're not cleaning up the registers.
Those things.
Okay. Fair enough. Your final comments then.
My final thought is that, one, let us leave IEBC to do their work. Every time we blame IEBC from the national level, we forget the key people of IEBC are the returning officers, the PORs, and the clerks, whom we politicians employ to IEBC. So sometimes when you get to the national level and we are fighting, and yet you had an opportunity in the constituency to employ all the clerks who have done your job, and counting is done in that polling station, sometimes it leaves Kenyans baffled. And I think for the first time, let's first talk about voter registration, why you need to vote. You need to vote not because of Jubilee or CORD. You need to vote for your country to get better services. It's up to you to choose who will give you that better service.
Couldn't wind it up on a better note. I thank my panelists for their views on the show. We're back with the business news after this.